Welcome. So what do you have to know to be able to factor when a is equal to 1? Well, to solve by factoring when a is equal to 1. So the first thing that we're going to look into, obviously you can look into my videos in this course as far as, what is a quadratic and what exactly is factoring. But I'll kind of do a nice little overview again for you as well. And if you need more information, you can check out those videos. So, here we have a quadratic and we want to go and solve it by factoring. Now, really in the basic form of it, when we're going to be solving, we're going to want to set it equal to 0. And we're going to want to find these values. Now, what you need to know for this course is a couple things of, one, being able to determine the factors of a number. So for instance, if I have the factors of 5, well, we know the factors are going to be the two numbers that are going to multiply to give us 5. So we could say it's 5 times 1. Then what about the factors of 12? Well, we know that the factors of 12 are definitely 12 times 1, but there's more than one set of factors. We could do 6 times 2. We could do 4 times 3. And not only can we do the positive values of these factors, but we could also do negative. For instance, if I want to multiply by 12, I could have negative 12, negative 1, negative 6, negative 2, negative 4, negative 3. So there's actually double the amount of sets that we could have for those types of factors. However, let's say if I had negative 5, well, the two factors could be negative 5 times 1 and positive 5 times negative 1. So it's going to be very important when we're looking into solving a quadratic by factoring when a equals 1, that we're able to determine all of the possible factors. And if it's a positive number, you could have your positive versions. Let me just do the positive and the negative so I'm not confusing you. We could do the positive, or we could also do the negative. However, if it's negative, we know that one has to be positive and the other factor has to be negative. Now, I'm going to show you a lot of different techniques on how to solve for this, but the main important thing that you guys need to know when getting into this type of solving is, one, knowing how to determine the factors of a number, which is going to be our constant, which we'll value as c, and then taking those two factors and adding them together to give us the value of b. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing. And I have a couple, as I mentioned, techniques for you to use. The whole goal of this is for, at the end of this course, for you to be able to do this mentally in your head. But the basic thing what we're going to do is take the factors of c, what two numbers multiply to give us c, but then also are going to add to give us b. And the next thing that you really need to understand is, why are we doing the factoring? What is it you need to know? Well, you need to know why are we doing this. And the main important thing is, you can't isolate the x. When we're looking at linear equations, we don't want to solve for x, right? Get the x by itself. But in this case, we have two x's. We have an x squared and we have an x. So we can't just isolate the variable. So what we're going to have to do is set this up into two factors. And that's exactly what I get into in my video of what is factoring and how do we use it. But what we want to do is get this into factoring where the product of our two factors equals 0, because then what we'll do, let's just pretend this is x plus p and x plus q. And p and q, what that would mean is p times q equals c, and p plus q equals b. All right? But once we have these two factors, then once we have these two factors set equal to 0, we can use the zero product property to solve, to now isolate our variable x, and now we can solve. So that's what you need to know for this. I'm going to get into a lot more details on how we're going to do this and some tips and some tricks, but that's the very basics for solving by factoring. Thanks.